Today I'm going to share my hottest budget tips and tricks for traveling to an Airbnb. Now, generally going to an Airbnb is going to be a lot cheaper than traveling to a hotel, and you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. Three main reasons why I love an Airbnb is that number one, you're going to get a lot more freedom, especially if you have kids. So in an Airbnb, instead of getting one bedroom for a certain cost, you usually get like a house or an apartment where you're gonna have a separate bedroom, maybe separate bedrooms for you and your kids. But even if you do have to share, you're gonna at least have like a living room, common room area, so you don't have to all have the same bedtime. Number two, it is easier to go bigger and then split it with friends and family together, and you get a lot more and you still spend either the same or even less than you would at a hotel because you actually get to split the cost among a group of people. And this can create an extra special experience, some bonding time for friends and family. And number three, my favorite reason to go to an Airbnb is that you usually get your own kitchen and fridge. And this means that you can actually bring all of your own food. Now, I'm not super against going out to eat every once in a while, but when you're on vacation, it can get really old eating the same old restaurant food over and over again. It's also extremely expensive, for me at least, feeding a family of 5. It's like $200 every time we go out, which is just cost prohibitive. And I really can't guarantee that my children aren't gonna act like crazy baboons every single time we go to the restaurant. It's like 50-50, maybe even worse than that. So I can save a lot of time, money, and stress by actually cooking our meals at home when I'm at an Airbnb. So yes, I am a huge fan of Airbnbs, and today I'm going to share my best tips and best recipes for traveling as I get ready for my annual trip to Maine with my family, where we will stay in a cottage all together. I also wanted to mention that this video is sponsored by Thrive Market, and I'm going to be going over how Thrive Market fits into my Airbnb travel a little bit later. So I am going to be sharing recipes today, but first I'm going to talk about shopping and planning because it's really important before we pick our recipes that we know how we're going to go about this. It is going to be a little bit different than a regular week of planning. Mostly I'm going to share tips about going to an Airbnb where you're going to drive there because that's what I'm going to be doing. But there are a few tips that I want to share if you are traveling on a plane going somewhere to an Airbnb. So you can do this very similar to how you would with your weekly budget. Now, while you cannot shop your pantry, I always recommend you shop your pantry first. You can't do this when you're traveling, obviously. You can't be bringing items with you on the plane to eat in your destination. You can still shop the sales. So you can actually look at the sales flyer for the grocery store nearest to your Airbnb. When you're at home, kind of plan out what you want to make, what you want to eat. I really recommend when you do plan out your breakfast, I like to keep my breakfast kind of the same when I'm at an Airbnb. However, my kids have a schedule that's rotating, that's 5 days, and that's like 5 different things. When you're traveling and you're buying something at a local store, you really want to kind of keep your ingredients low. So if you pick 1 or 2 things you're going to have for breakfast, you're going to end up in a lot better spot. It does kind of cut down on your variety, but it is going to save you a lot of money and a lot of time and stress. You don't want to also be throwing things away before you leave. It just doesn't feel good. So when you are picking your breakfast, lunches, and dinners, consider that first page of the sales flyer because that's where you're going to find the best deals that that store has to offer. If you have a little bit more time, you can kind of discover the rest of the sales flyer, but watch out for things like compare and save or always great price. Those things are not necessarily on sale, even though they could be a good price. You can still buy them, but don't be bamboozled or think that they actually are on sale because they are not. And in this case, another thing you want to try and do is focus on rollover meals. So if you're gonna be cooking chicken one night because chicken's on sale, think about cooking chicken enchiladas or chicken fried rice the next day with the leftover chicken, and that way you're using the same thing twice. It saves you time and it saves you money. And be realistic, you can obviously set a larger budget for yourself while you're on vacation so you can get some special things that you like because this is a time to splurge, but I don't believe in wasting if you don't have to, so you really don't need to overspend just to overspend, right? Get things that you like, but don't spend more if you don't need to. So back to my Airbnb experience that I'm coming up on here. I'm gonna plan out my breakfasts and lunches very similar to how I do it at home. We have a breakfast schedule for the kids and they're gonna stick to it. So I'm gonna bring things from home that we already have. For Monday breakfast, my kids have either a bagel or oatmeal, so I'll be bringing the oatmeal with me. Pancakes on Tuesday, so I'll be bringing stuff to make pancakes. Waffles on Wednesday. Thursday, egg, sausage, and fruit, and Friday, egg, sausage, and bacon. So if I already have some sausage, I'll be throwing that in my cooler, and if I already have bacon around, I'll be doing the same, because I always think to stock those things up as they go on sale. Every week, I try and use 20% of my grocery budget to stock up on the sale items, so I always get the best prices. And for dinner, the great thing about traveling with family and friends is that you can divide up the meals and kind of have everyone cook for the whole group 1 or 2 nights, depending on how long you're staying. The great thing about this is you can again shop the sales flyer and pick something based off of what's on sale. And then you're not having to spread that out over 5 or 6 meals, but just 2 meals you have to cook quite a bit more of. But always buying in bulk is usually gonna save you money. Being able to cook 1 larger meal is actually gonna be cheaper than cooking 5 smaller meals. Plus, this lets you relax some of the other days, which is really nice. I also like to shop my freezer for this. So if I can look at my freezer and say, well, I already have some ground beef on sale, maybe I will make burgers. Now, as I mentioned, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going on vacation up to a month in advance. So each week, 80% of my grocery budget I'm spending on the current week and 20% I'm spending on stock up items. And this means that things are on sale that I know we will eat and use. So I always make sure that I'm trying to get the best prices on these. So in our case, I knew we were going on vacation. So when I saw these little lesser evil space balls pop up on sale for $2.99, I grabbed a ton of them because I know that my kids will eat them as snacks. And I know that for vacation, we could really utilize these. And now comes in the sponsor of today's video, Thrive Market. Now, Thrive Market is also an amazing way to stock up on snacks for less.
Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store offering the highest quality products delivered to your door with savings on every order.
I like to go right in on the app and they have a little deals tab, and I always check that out first because that's where I know I can find the best deals on the things that I love. Now, one of the reasons I like to shop through Thrive Market is their wide variety of small packaged snacks that are made with avocado oil, and they're gluten-free snacks. And these are all prepackaged items that are perfect for us to be bringing down to the beach because we're going to the lake. So we have to travel and we pack a little lunch, and I like to have small snacks so that everything doesn't just get thrown in the sand, We have personally been trying to cut down as much as we can on our seed oil intake and our gluten intake just because it's super inflammatory. Are we perfect? By no means, no. And it is vacation, like we're gonna have things that aren't good, but I figured at least we can get like a good balance in there. That is a really good opportunity. And these are things that I can't find anywhere else in my area. And that's the thing, Thrive Market has over 90 different diet and value choices. So there's really something that fits everyone, and even at the best low prices. So if you find something cheaper somewhere else, they'll actually price match you, which is wild. And your order at $49 or above is free shipping. Now, I ordered a ton of snacks today for only $82, and considering we're going on a 2-week trip, my budget for that is $400 for the entire 2 weeks. $82 out of that for the 2 weeks is actually really not bad at all, and all these things are super healthy and good for us, so I know that even if we're not perfect in other areas, I at least know that I have the snacks covered. So some of the items that I ordered that are gonna be perfect for us to bring down the beach are some of these space balls. These, if you have not tried these, oh my gosh, they're super delicious. They taste just like cheese balls, except they're actually vegan, they're gluten-free, and they're made with avocado oil. Like, it doesn't get any better. Oh, and I think they're organic too. Yeah, organic. So you really can't feel bad about that, and it feels like junk food. I also got these bags of potato chips because you can't go wrong with potato chips. These ones are cool too because they have the barbecue and the salt and vinegar, so lots of different flavors. We got these Simple Mills products, which are always gluten-free, and I haven't seen like the little packs of these before, so again, great to travel with. I got more beef sticks because we love them. Thrive also has its own brand, and I haven't tried these before, but they sound delicious. Coconut oil sweet potato chips. So that's gonna be something exciting and new to try. Got cheddar bunnies, my littlest, who's 2, Ben, he loves these. And the Annie's variety pack. These ones are not gluten-free, but still family favorite. These macro bars are supposed to be for kids, but I eat them and I love them. And we haven't tried these before. I'm super excited. Little fruit circles. They have no added sugar, just like those little bear ones I showed you earlier. So it feels like a little fun snack for the kids, but we're not making them crazy with the sugar because mine react very strongly to that. So of course you're gonna get a deal. Click the link in my description box or go to thrivemarket.com/mealswithmaria to get 30% off your first order and a free gift up to $60 when you join Thrive Market today. And then of course my light's broken in here, but I'm gonna shop my pantry. So I wanna see what I already have and then I can bring with me. So for example, I already have this whole container of Quick Oats, so I can just put this in a smaller container and bring it with us, and I don't have to buy any oatmeal. I already have plenty of rice. Again, put it in a smaller container. We'll be bringing this along too because I'm gonna make some garlic butter rice, and I'll give you the recipe for that in a little bit. So as you can see, I go through, see what I already have, and try and buy as little as possible because that is what I do every week, week after week, to save money on groceries. And then to make things easier on myself, I like to take all of my packages of groceries and put them into these plastic totes. These pack up really easily in the car and they stack on top of each other. They also make it really easy to bring inside of the Airbnb, and they keep it so that your items like chips don't get crushed. They kind of stay in here. I'll do one of these whole containers with just the individual bags of chips, and that way when we're packing lunches, we can just snag them out of here. I'm never taking up space in the Airbnb, except for the size of this box, but I'm not taking it up in the cabinets or anything like that, and we know where all of our food is. If you want to keep things extra organized, I like to take them out of the packages. I don't do this at home because it's kind of a waste, but when we're traveling, take them out of the packages, put like things inside of Ziploc bags, and that way they don't get like all mixed in. Like these are the chips, but I don't know how I really want all the meat sticks going to the bottom of here. So I have them all in a bag, and that way I know where they are. And then I'm gonna shop my fridge. Because I have to bring everything with me anyway, there's no use in me bringing a brand new ketchup when I already have one that's almost full. I'm gonna shop my sales flyer, and in that few weeks leading up to going on vacation, if I see a meat that I'm gonna bring with me, I'm gonna grab that with the 20% if I can. I'm actually gonna put it into my freezer in a Ziploc bag and with any marinade that it might need on it. And then when I'm ready to go, I can pop it right in my cooler frozen. That way I don't have to worry about it on my drive. I'm not concerned about where it's gonna end up as far as staying cold enough. And it's actually gonna act as an ice pack to the other food that I put in the cooler and take up less space. So since I have to take up that space anyway, it might as well be something that's frozen. And if you don't have a decent cooler that keeps your things cold, I highly recommend investing in one. Now I was lucky, my lovely friend Michelle Normandin Real Estate to sell some land, and she gave us this great Arctic cooler, which I cannot speak more highly of. But also if you're in New Hampshire, she's your realtor, Michelle Normandin. I was grateful to get this as a gift, but had I known how much it would have helped my family, I would have purchased one myself a lot earlier. This is truly amazing. This is a great brand. It works as good as the Yeti, if not better, and it's much, much cheaper. It's also a fantastic thing to consider getting for a gift for somebody. Now, what is Meals with Maria without some recipes? So I'm gonna show you what I'm actually gonna make this week, some of my favorites. We're gonna be making chicken kebabs with garlic butter rice, chicken sandwiches, my personal potato salad. This is like, you know, my recipe. Okay, it's time to make dinner here. And I'm gonna make the chicken kebabs. So I'm gonna start by cutting up my peppers and my chicken and my onion, and then we're gonna make a marinade for it. So before we cut our chicken, I'm just gonna put this minced garlic in a container that I'm gonna make my marinade in. You do want like a bowl for that. Don't worry, I didn't touch the chicken with that hand. These are some pretty large chicken breasts. But with these breasts, we wanna cut them into chunks. So for this marinade, we have 1 large clove of garlic, or about a tablespoon, a 1/4 cup of vinegar, a 1/2 cup of oil. So I am assuming you have oil and vinegar. If you don't, you can buy it, obviously. Or it's actually really cheap to buy like the store brand dressing, like an Italian dressing or a Greek dressing. And that's usually like $1 or $2. So it's gonna be cheaper than buying like a whole container of oil. So if you're on a tight budget, you can just buy a marinade or a dressing and then just marinate in that, and it'll taste delicious. You want a little pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You want a 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. I did kind of forget to chop that on the cutting board, but I'm just gonna use these kitchen scissors, and I find that that's a really nice, easy way to cut herbs sometimes. Okay, so I read that wrong. It's supposed to be 2 teaspoons of salt, so I'm adding extra, and then it's 1 teaspoon of parsley, but I feel comfortable with what's in here. So I'm just pouring this over my chicken and vegetables, and we're gonna place this in the refrigerator for a few hours, and then we're gonna put on kebabs and grill it up. I got the grill going, and I'm just gonna make some kebabs here.
Tie-dye, Daddy?
Yeah, Daddy's tie-dyeing. Just figured I'd do this outside so that everybody can play outside and have a good time. It's nice weather. When I do my kebabs, I like to do the vegetables on one and the chicken on another because they cook at different rates. I'm putting the chicken on the hotter part and then the kebabs on the less hot. I mean the vegetables on the less hot, because I think they're gonna cook a little bit faster. So my whole plan was to serve this with garlic butter rice. It was delicious, but I didn't make the garlic butter rice because I had this Jennifer Aniston salad that I still needed to use. So I actually ended up using the Jennifer Aniston salad, which I'll give you the video and the recipe for down below in the description box. And then I'm going to show you the video for garlic butter rice right now. You need 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, some vegetable oil, some minced garlic. So basically garlic, butter, white rice, and chicken broth. And then those scallions on top, I mean, if you have them, they're great. They're so cheap, but they're totally optional. You want to start off by slicing those 6 to 8 cloves of garlic very thinly. Now, garlic is so inexpensive. Do yourself a favor and buy yourself a head of garlic every now and then. If you're really, really tight or you only have garlic powder that day, I still think you could get away with doing this recipe with garlic powder. It's all about the butter and the rice, really. Add that garlic powder in and it's still going to be delicious. So I'll show you where you can add that garlic powder when the time is right. We're making this garlic because we're going to actually end up making like a crispy garlic chip. These garlic chips are so easy to make and they're a great addition to this rice, but also really anything else. Like now that I know how to make them so easily, I will probably make them for other things or just top even just a plain white rice with them, or you can put them over a little bit of chicken, but they are so delicious and so simple and budget friendly as always. So this part is really the only chopping you're going to need to do for this recipe. I just took a couple of scallions and sliced those up as well. Like I said, those are optional. If you have them, definitely use them. You're going to need 2 to 3 tablespoons of some sort of fat. I'm just using an olive oil, but whatever you have on hand will do. And you want to heat that over medium-high heat in a saucepan. I'm adding the garlic slices once everything is warmed up, and we're going to saute those, moving them constantly until they're golden and crisp. So we're almost making like a potato chip, but it's a garlic chip. It doesn't take very long, so just watch those really carefully. They're going to cook very fast. Once they get a little bit brown, then you know that they're done. Once they're done, you're going to transfer them to a paper towel, basically to drain off the oil. You want to pour out any excess oil from the pan and then return it to your medium heat. You want to add 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that. And then once that is melted or melted-ish, as you can see, you want to add 2.5 teaspoons of minced garlic. And this is where if you hadn't made those garlic chips, you can go ahead and add maybe a tablespoon or a teaspoon or, you know, however much garlic you like. I feel like garlic powder is very flexible when it comes to garlic powder. Like you can add more, you can add less depending on how much you enjoy. So you go ahead and take the reins on that one. And so if you're using our minced garlic though, you want to saute this for about 1.5 minutes until your garlic starts to turn like a light golden brown and the butter is well infused, because we're basically making a garlic butter. Then you want to add in 1.5 cups of rice. Now you can rinse this rice if you want to ahead of time. I know there's like a strong debate on the internet here over whether you should rinse the rice or not rinse the rice. You can see I'm pouring mine straight from my container. I've never really had a problem with this, but go ahead and do you. You want to stir this around and coat it in the garlic butter. And then we're going to add in 2.5 cups of chicken broth or chicken bouillon. And I really feel like if you are on the cheap here and you don't have either of those things, you could just use some salted water and I still think it would turn out pretty well. It's all about the garlic flavor and the butter flavor here. So even garlic powder and butter, I think will do it for you. Place a lid on your saucepan and bring that to a boil. And then you want to turn the heat down to medium-low and cook for 12 to 15 minutes. At this point, all of the liquid should be absorbed from the rice, and you can double check to make sure that that's happened. I feel like you know when you have those like little holes in the rice that it's perfectly cooked. You can transfer this to a serving bowl if you like, but I was serving mine right in my pot because it's just our family tonight. Add 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that right into your rice. You want to top this with your crispy garlic and your scallions, and it is just so pretty. This is always a huge hit. I've made this for my extended family before, and they were so impressed. Like, this is gourmet rice. This is amazing. I'm like, this is the cheapest, easiest rice ever. Everybody should make it. It is such a winner. This next recipe is for a marinated grilled chicken burger, and I enjoyed this so much. The whole family loved it. They loved it so much that they asked to take it on vacation with us on our upcoming vacation. So that's how I know that this is a huge win, and this is so simple. I'm just gonna marinate our chicken. We're gonna use some chicken breast to make a chicken burger with 1 cup of oil, a half a cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And then you can either do a fresh crushed clove of garlic, or I had this like garlic grinder that I decided to use because I was out of fresh garlic. You could also add a little bit more garlic powder too, so whatever you have on hand, go ahead and use that. Mix that all together, and this makes an absolutely amazing marinade. This grilled chicken, once it came out, was so delicious. So again, I have pulled some chicken out of the freezer. I gave you some prices on chicken earlier. This is again a chicken breast, and to make 4 of these, you really need just about 1 pound. You're gonna slice them pretty thin because we're gonna put them on a burger with a burger bun. We're gonna get plenty of items on top of that, so you don't really need like a huge chicken breast, plus that would take forever to cook. So I'm slicing my chicken breasts in half, and I happen to have 3. We're gonna cook a little bit extra tonight. Just want to make sure that they are submerged in that marinade. We're gonna cover them up and refrigerate them in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. Now the beautiful thing about a sandwich like this, or a chicken burger as they're calling it, is that you can put whatever you have on hand on top of it. You can make it your own. So I happen to have a half of an avocado, and I'm gonna slice that up. I have half of a tomato. I have some cheddar cheese. So we're just gonna use those things to top our little chicken burgers with. And in my family, it's like everyone wants something different. Julian, my 4-year-old, loves the avocado. I like that too. My husband is more of like a just cheese and sauce guy. And my son, Tommy, who's 6, is all about the ketchup, just ketchup and plain chicken, and that's all he wants. But because I am always down to try new things and I want new ideas, I would love you guys to tell me down in the comments below what your favorite toppings are, your most innovative toppings, or the weirdest thing maybe you've even put on top of something like a grilled chicken sandwich. Now you want to grill these over high heat for 6 to 8 minutes on each side. But if you don't have a grill or a griddle or something like that, you can go ahead and put these in the oven and cook them at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. At its core, 4 of these chicken sandwiches with cheese and just cheese and chicken and burger buns is going to run you $4.58, and then you can add whatever you want on the top. And then while I'm on vacation, I'll be serving this with my potato salad recipe. Potatoes are so cheap. You can get a 5-pound bag of potatoes at Walmart for $2.57, and I used about 3 or 4 pounds of them. And I want to thank everybody who mentioned in my Easter video that they cut their potatoes before they boil them. I do not know why I always did this backwards, but I would boil the potatoes, wait for them to cool, and then cut them. And they ended up being a little bit more mushier. You know, they're mushier when you cut them like that. When I cut them like this and I cooked them perfectly, it worked out so well. I was like, wow, my potatoes are actually retaining their shape and they're perfectly cooked. I am slicing up about 1/4 cup of onion, and I'm just mincing that really small. I really don't want there to be large chunks of onion in my potato salad. And then I'm taking 2 slices of dill spears. They have to be dill pickles in this, and dicing those up as well. This is all dependent upon how much, pickles and onions you like. This is my own personal preference on how I like my potato salad. This is my own recipe. And I'm also deciding to take the rest of those pickles because I had to buy them. They were $1.79, or I bought them for $1.70. They were on sale, but Walmart $1.79. And I figured this is great because not only am I going to use these in my potato salad, but I can put them on the side. To that, you want to add a couple tablespoons of white wine vinegar and a couple tablespoons of olive oil, or whatever olive oil you would like to use. I'm starting out with about 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, but this is kind of going to depending on how many potatoes you end up using in a salad like this and how much mayonnaise you like. Some people like more, some people like less. So this is really up to you. I kind of start small and then add more as I put my potatoes in and I see how everything is turning out. Another alternative, as I always say, you could probably use onion powder in this instead of fresh onions. I'm just going to drain off my potatoes and wait for those to cool once they are fully cooked through and fork tender. This is not 100% necessary, but if you have some eggs in your fridge, go ahead and boil those up or steam them or however you like to cook a hard-boiled egg and add those to this potato salad because they are a real added treat. but it's totally not necessary. So I didn't add that to the cost because it's all depending on what you have, and you definitely don't need it, but it is still delicious. Once your potatoes have cooled, add those and your eggs to your mayonnaise mixture. Make sure everything is well mixed. And then at the end, you can check your flavor, see if you need a little bit more mayonnaise or a little bit of salt. I don't usually add salt to this right away because it does have that pickle flavor in it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, pour in a little pickle juice if you like that. And just see how you like it. See if you want to add more salt. That's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to kind of how your potato is cooked. To make this look pretty, I am going to slice up one egg and put that on top of it, as well with a little bit of paprika. If you can believe it, the potato salad comes in at $3.43. I hope you love all those recipes and got some great tips for some budget cooking that you can do while you're away, and how to shop and how to keep everything simple and delicious. I'm actually on vacation right now while I'm finishing this up. We just had the chicken skewers yesterday. They were absolutely fabulous. Don't forget to click the link in my description box or go to thrivemarket.com/mealswithmaria for 30% off your first order and a free gift worth up to $60 when you join Thrive Market today.